Welcome to the Disney Parks Podcast with your hosts, Tony Casanova from DisneyByTheNumbers.com and Parkhopper John from WDWParkhoppers.com. Keep your hands, arms, feet, and legs inside the podcast at all times. And get ready for the Disney Parks Podcast.
Well, hello, everybody, and welcome to the Disney Parks Podcast. My name's Parkhopper John, and I come to you from WDWParkhoppers.com. Joining me, as always, is a lovable, huggable Mr. Suave himself, Tony Casanova from DisneyByTheNumbers.com. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing good. Welcome to Infotainment.
Infotainment and listener questions.
And now, the Disney Parks Podcast Infotainment segment.
We have a great show. This is a bonus show for the week. Very excited by that. Going to open up the mailbag. We've got some questions, and then we've had a busy week this week. So let's go ahead and get started talking about Finding Dory. You want to start there?
Yeah, so we had a chance to see Dory the Tuesday before it opened in the theaters on Friday. John and I went to a preview of it. And you want to start with Piper, the little short first?
Yeah. So
this is the way I was describing it to people. It seemed like an Audubon Society documentary on a Piper bird. If I had not known that it was done by a computer,
right,
I would swear to you that this thing was real.
Right.
That's the way I was telling people.
The opening shot is basically, if you've ever been to the beach and the waves come in, when they recede, it usually leaves a little bit of foam on the beach, and that was the opening shot. And I remember looking at you going, that looks real.
Yeah.
And Pixar has, I think, ever since Brave, I mean, even before Brave, but Brave was the movie that I remember going, holy cow, that looks real.
I think Brave was the turning point for me.
I remember going to see Cars in the movie theater when they were doing the race scenes. It looked like a real NASCAR race.
Yeah.
But Brave, and then subsequently every movie since then, they just look real. Piper tells the story of a little sandpiper, which is a type of bird that I affectionately call Sarah birds, because it's my wife when she was a kid. That's what her parents called her. It's a long story, but it's very cute. It tells a story about a little sandpiper learning how to get clams out of the beach. It is a great story with no dialogue. It's visually stunning. It's the best 4 minutes. It in and of itself is worth the price of whatever you pay to go see Finding Dory. And I am not one to always promote this, but I think you should go see this movie in 3D if you haven't already. Yeah. It's blowing the doors off the box office for animated features. So I'm very excited that it's doing well. And Piper is one of the reasons it's so good. Yeah. So
if you want to help Disney out, go see it again.
Yeah.
They're really, suffering in deep agony over, there's not really making enough money at the box office its opening weekend.
Well, they have to make up for that loss of Alice Through the Looking Glass.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that was a bad loss. So let's move on to Finding Dory. What do you think of Finding Dory?
Once again, they're really, really Pixar's pushing the envelope on realism. The Good Dinosaur. A lot of people mocked The Good Dinosaur because it was so real in the back that the cartoon things in the front, the dinosaurs, kind of threw off the balance of the movie. And with Dory, it's almost like that. They made the water and everything in it seem so real that there's like these blue little plasticky fish, kind of in there, and you're like, what? So they're really pushing the computer animation, way off the scale. The story I thought was good. It's funny for the kids. It's funny for the adults. I thought the story was cute. I liked the use of some new characters. You had a lot of great voices in there. People that you'll recognize, that you won't recognize. But I thought it was a lot of fun. It's taken them 13 years to make that sequel. So, I'm sure Ellen's happy.
Yeah, she should be, and she really, we owe her a lot because she was really the driving force behind this movie.
Yeah, maybe they would have never done one.
Right, maybe. I will say, if you are a parent, if you're a parent of a special needs child, this movie will, in the best possible way, wreck you. There's a scene in Finding Dory that reminded me very much of the scene from Toy Story 3. All the toys are in the incinerator and they're all trying to scrape out, and there's one moment where they all start joining hands, and then that one shot where Buzz reaches towards the camera, so to speak, and he's trying to grab Woody, and that's it. They're all going to go together. Right. And I remember being in the movie theater, and that moment gripped me so hard because even though I was older, I had grown up. Those characters have been in my life for 15 years.
Yeah.
And the thought of losing them, you could hear adults sobbing in that moment. And I remember in this scene that I'm thinking of in Finding Dory, it's the scene with the reveal about the seashells.
Oh yeah.
Just realizing that that tells the story of Dory from when she was a little baby fish to, the first part tells the story from when she's a little baby fish to when she actually bumps into Marlin at the beginning of Finding Nemo. And then we continue on a year later. And then periodically we get little snapshots of her along the way. Flashbacks, yeah. But there's this one scene where her parents reveal that they never forgot her, and they had instilled things in her as a child that came to fruition. And when you get the reveal of what the seashells are, it'll wreck you. I tried to be manly because I was sitting next to Tony. I just didn't want to be the fat blubbering guy. I tried to hold it together. But it's such a good movie. It's got so much heart. It does harken back a lot to Finding Nemo. There's a lot of touches to the previous movie. I've seen reviews where people didn't like that. They're heartless bastards, and they should never go see another movie again. This movie is worth the time, worth the money. I love what they've done with doing special performances for children who have certain special
visual
needs.
Disability.
Yeah. That's, again, it's touching on that theme. Dory's got a problem.
Right.
And just to watch how...
And also Nemo had a problem too.
Nemo has his lucky fan, but, this was a big thing, and it was so good. The Sigourney Weaver cameo is the best cameo. It's the best. And a game that you could play is find the John Ratzenberger in this movie.
Yes.
He has a very, very small scene.
But as soon as he says it, it's him. That's him.
So
I didn't find the ball. I didn't find the Pizza Planet truck, and
No.
I haven't found the forecast of the next movie, and I can't even think of what the next Pixar movie is off the top of my head.
I don't know. I'd have to go look. On a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being awesome, what do you give this film?
I give this movie a solid 9.
Really?
I give it a solid 9.
Toy Story 1 being a 10, I'm assuming?
Toy Story 1, 2, and 3, yes. That would be 10, 10, 10. But that brings up a good point that I'm afraid now to see Toy Story 4. If they're making these things so realistic, what is Toy Story 4 going to look like? Am I not going to recognize my beloved Buzz and Woody? Are they going to be so realistic that it's just going to pop off the screen? I don't know. So,
with the exception of,
they should go back to let's go back to 1989 technology so that we can make this movie correct.
With the exception of The Good Dinosaur, which was not a bad movie, wasn't a horrible
really
movie.
A bad movie.
It had a lot of scenes that were good, that were touching, but it just felt like there were too many scenes that were not connected. It felt like a movie of a lot of really good moments, but not a moment.
It looked like a National Park documentary.
Yeah, something like that. Dory, on the other hand, is a great movie.
Little dinosaurs in front.
Yeah. Dory is a great movie. Great story. Toy Story 4 is John Lasseter's baby.
Yes.
Even if the technology is not better and photorealistic, the story will be impeccable. Toy Story 2 was better than Toy Story 1. Toy Story 3, I thought, in some ways, was better than Toy Story 2. I'm excited about Toy Story 4. But I give Finding Dory a 9.5.
Yeah, good for you. Good.
Thanks. All right, so that's Finding Dory. Now,
Yeah.
I was not able to go to the Star Wars Galactic Spectacular yet, but you were. So why don't you tell me about that?
People. I would just tell you this once and only once. If there's a fireworks show you're going to go to this summer, winter, year, at any Disney park, it is going to be this one. I don't care if you hate Star Wars. You have to get over to the Disney Hollywood studio to see this fireworks show. All I can tell you is mind blown. Now, me and John had the chance to see the Summer Awaken little preview thing that they had given us a couple months ago. We were at the studios, obviously. We were in Launch Bay, and there were some Imagineers, and they had this model of the Chinese theater in the studio, and they had these screens, and they were showing what the Star Wars show was going to look like. And I don't even think they're done. I think they opened it, but I think there are a couple elements they're going to add later that they're not completely done doing what they need to do. With that being said, I don't really want to ruin all the special effects and things that they do in the show. I will tell you this, though. The fireworks were good. Okay? They did some really different things. They're kind of all spaced. You know, there's some over here, some over the left, kind of, trying to use all of the park areas. There's different firing cues that they're using. And they're really, really different fireworks that you've not seen in, Illuminations or Wishes or things like that. The stuff that they project on the Chinese theater and the two screens that they have is really fantastic. Really high tech, great mapping of the stuff. I also believe that they've added more speakers to the main area around the Chinese theater, because I am telling you, a ship came it felt like it was coming from over. It felt like it was coming from the crossroads, and then flying in at this really slow speed, and went right through the Chinese theater. And I am telling you, the rumble started from way back. Really, the sound came like over your head, and it slowly passed you. And it was a rumble that actually make your chest go. That's how great the sound effects were on that that spaceship. I'm laughing now because back I was like, what the hell is that? It just happens, and you're like, where is that coming from, and what is that? I am telling you, you'll love it. They have some laser lights. They have spotlights. It is just a full-on technology experience, and you can't get this in any other park. It makes Illuminations look like a kiddie show at a carnival, if I can put it that way to you.
Wow.
Yeah. Any video you see of this will not do it justice.
Right.
It's a good. Oh yeah, there's some blah blah blah. Yeah, there's some thing, picture screen, blah, blah, fireworks. It'll give you an idea of what you'll get, but you have to be in the experience to see it. And I will say this: it's probably better. Here's the two problems that I see. It's best if you can see it. Unfortunately, from in front of Chinese theater, somewhere from say Starbucks forward. Okay. That is probably the premier viewing area. I think, like some people kind of go off to the side by like 50s primetime area over by Echo Lake and that railing area. You'll see sometimes people staying there. That's really not, I don't think, a great viewpoint for this because you're only getting like half the show because there's a lot of show that happens on the other side on the second screen that you may not see from that viewpoint. So unfortunately, you're gonna have to be in front. And the bad part of that is, unfortunately, you have to be in front, and it's going to be usually very crowded, and there'll be a lot of humanity there. And during the summer, that's hot, sticky, sweaty, stinky humanity.
How was the lightsaber effect at the end?
That's what I think they're going to try and improve and tweak. It's not as good as I think it should be or could be. And I think they know that. I think, it's like, I don't know, maybe a half a dozen lights, coming to be one beam. And I think what they want is just one solid beam, and it's really not that yet. I think they're going to play with that. I think there's a couple elements that they're going to. Also, the two buildings they built, is doing most of the projecting. But I think there's also supposed to be things that are happening on the top of them at the end, which hasn't happened yet. And I could be wrong. Maybe this is it. Maybe this is as good as it's going to get. But I think, the thing that we saw back, a few months ago had some elements happening on those two buildings and a better spotlight element. And maybe their spotlight element didn't come in from, I don't know, Spotlights Are Us.
Maybe, who knows?
Maybe it's on back order or something, or, whatever. I don't know. Or maybe, the FAA told them, well, you can't put a bright light in the sky. We'll think that's a landing zone or something.
No, they shouldn't be flying over anyway. It's a no-fly zone.
Well, we can maybe not. But I'm really telling you, go see the show because I thought it was spectacular. I really did. And it's kind of it's a little bit from all the movies kind of thing. Just no Jar Jar Binks.
Yay! I mean, boo! I mean, yay!
Yeah. The Darth Vader part was very, very cool and very intriguing. It just went pitch black, and then all you could hear is Vader breathing.
Oh wow!
And then like this little like puffs of smoke, like as if he was like breathing out of his mask, coming from the top of the theater. I'm telling you, very cool, very very cool show. Yeah, like I said, even if you hate Star Wars, you're gonna like the show because the effort that went into it is really great. And the John Williams soundtrack, I don't know, they could have been playing fart noises, and as long as they played the John Williams soundtrack to Star Wars, I would have known what was going on.
Nice. That's exciting.
Yeah.
Well, over at the Magic Kingdom, our beloved Dream Along with Mickey went away a few months ago to make way for a new Castle Forecourt show. There was a lot of construction going on at the Cinderella Castle area, and we've now seen what that bought us with new lighting effects and some new background effects that they're doing for Mickey's Royal Friendship Faire, the new castle show. And I got to watch this. I got to watch it a couple different ways. Thanks to the power of YouTube videos, not only did I get to see parts of it live, I also got to see several different angles of it. Yeah. Basically, the new show is really good. I watched a video of it to get a different perspective, and the video that I watched was probably like on the first day, and it was a crowd full of Disney people. So every time a character looked, everybody lost their mind. So that really helped me feel better about the show. I do like Dream Along with Mickey. I do. There's a lot of sentimental nostalgia for that show for me. Yeah. But I'm not against the new show. The new show is really cute. Again, it has Mickey, Minnie, Donald, Daisy, and Goofy coming out. So there's no Pluto in this show. Daisy has taken Pluto's place permanently. I mean, Daisy was out before, but this is more of a couples thing. And then you've got Goofy, of course, who's odd man out and everything that he does. Poor guy. But it basically has them come out. It's got some dancers. They sing a song. It's really nice. And then they break down and they do little vignettes. So you have Tiana and Naveen from Princess and the Frog. You have Louis is also out as well, but I did not see Louis.
Yeah, I didn't see him either.
Yet. So it was reported earlier that he was going to be out there. I've not seen him, so I don't know if he's not ready, if he hasn't come over from the Bayou. But also, to be brutally honest with you, this debuted the day after the alligator attack.
Yeah.
So they probably said, hey, maybe we shouldn't send Louis out. You know what I'm saying?
Because they pulled the Ginger Snaps line from the Jungle Cruise, too.
Yeah, there's a couple things. Anyway, so that has nothing to do with this. It was stuff they did at the Tony Awards, but because it's a recording of the singing, so he's mentioned in the recording, and you can hear a trumpet playing. So, but he just wasn't out there. But you got Naveen and you got Tiana. They came out, and then you had Rapunzel and Flynn Rider. Actually, face characters came out, and they had several of the members of the bar from Tangled.
Oh, yeah, I can't think of the name.
Something Duck. They're out there. They do a little musical number, and then you have Anna, Elsa, and Olaf come out, and they do a little song and dance. And it's really not that bad. It's very cute. And then Mickey and the other characters come out in their Royal Friendship Faire, and then they have the big closing number. Really, really good. Well done show. Is it a successor to Dream Along with Mickey? Sure. I don't want to be negative. I'm a little disappointed they didn't have more classic characters. Yeah. I'm really, I'm shocked, but it does make sense that they brought in more of the newer characters, because if this show goes 10 years, these characters will be, the old characters. So, but I'm shocked that they didn't have, at least one, classic princess, or even, Belle or Little Mermaid or any of that stuff. Yeah. But
see, I think they're trying to cater to the newer generation of the Disney kids, rather than the past generation of the Disney. They're not catering to us adults anymore. They're going for the younger.
Right.
Because those are the kids that are really going to stand in the forecourt castle area at 2:00 in the afternoon in the beating sun to watch something. It's not going to be us.
And it was a good show. It was a good show to see how the changes in the castle area affected. Mm-hmm. It was really nice how they used They had a doorway where some people came in, and then it was offset from the actual wall where people could go behind their costumes and set changes. It was really, really cool. It was nice to see. It was a good show. There wasn't that scary moment, I don't think, from like when Maleficent came out. There wasn't that moment.
Right.
But it was really, really good. It was a cute show. Definitely want to make sure you go see it. See it a few times. Get used to it. It's different. It still has.
There's not a lot of pyros. The other show had boom, boom. Ended with the
right.
We don't know when the show. If I'm in Fantasyland, I won't know when the show ends.
Right.
There's no fireworks telling me it's over.
Yeah.
And I can go back to Main Street.
Yeah, so we have to adjust ourselves a little bit. We're in the Magic Kingdom, but it's a good show. If you haven't seen it yet, you need to go see it.
What did you think of the songs, the new songs? They're not as catchy as I would have thought.
I didn't want to say that, but
they're not toe tappers.
They have songs from the musical, from the shows.
Yeah,
just like they did in Dream Law with Mickey, but. Da 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 da. Dreams come true. I mean, all that stuff's in my head because we've heard it 1,000 times.
Yeah, maybe we'll hear this.
Give me a couple of years, and we'll probably have this song in our head too.
Yeah.
Now,
in 15 years, you'll be singing those songs.
15 years, we'll both be like, "Good God, can we come up with a new show?" I mean, exactly. Wendy's been doing the show, and she's 60. Let's go. Come on. Let's do something different. It's a good show. I liked it. I liked it a lot, to tell you why.
I was 52 when I put that first show on the stage.
Pan used to throw me around, and then one day my teeth flew out and hit a little child. And I was like, it's time to hang up the Wendy outfit.
It's a good show. I think it'll grow on us. I think we'll get tired of it in 15 years.
Sure. Just like everything needs to change periodically.
Yeah.
Right.
I wonder if they'll ever change wishes.
God, it would be nice if we had something different. I mean, I don't know what I would do. Wishes, that and the music from Illuminations. I mean, we have recordings of those music, so I don't have to worry about ever not hearing it. But that would be really weird. But hey, I would like there to be a change. I'm to the point now where I want a different nighttime parade as well. Much as I love Main Street Electric, had it for too long. It's time for a different show now.
Here's the thing. I don't mind if they move that to another park, like move it to the studios for nighttime, or move it to an Animal Kingdom, and put something new in the Magic Kingdom. But get rid of it. The rumor going around is that Disneyland wants it back, and that we were going to get Tokyo's kind of paint the night parade, and Disneyland was going to get that. Tokyo was going to get theirs, so there's going to be a swapping of the parades. But I don't know.
Paint the Night is popular with Disneyland. And I know that you have a very strong attachment to Main Street. But, I mean, dude, you have to admit, it was here for a long time. It went away for a little while. Now it's been back
supposed to be here for a summer.
Right. It's time for something different. Disneyland got Paint the Night. When's our next anniversary? When's our next big anniversary?
This October, 45.
45. So we've probably got 6 more years until we get our own parade when we turn 50.
Yeah. The year I moved here was supposed to be the last year of the Main Street Electrical Parade, and I went to see it ad nauseum because it was supposed to end in September. Right. And I got here in July, so I made sure to see it as much as I could, because it was going away. And 6 years later, it's still here. So
crazy.
It's still here, and so am I.
That's true. But they obviously can't bring back Spectrum Magic because it's gone, literally.
Well, it's gone, literally gone. Yeah.
It's passed through some rats.
And everything else is eating it. Yeah. All right, hey, we got a mailbag question. I thought it would be fun and interesting if we address this or talk about it a little bit. So here is the mailbag question. You ready?
Yeah, for those of you who need a trigger warning, we're going to talk about things that happened this week, and just know that we are trying to be sensitive, but we're trying to pass along some information. So we're not trying to be insensitive. We're not trying to be callous or cruel. Yeah. Our hearts and thoughts go out to those people, but we have to address this question, and there's your trigger warning. My job here is done.
Okay. So the question is, what kind of security does Disney have? Would they have to stop the shooter at all, and do Disney security carry a gun in them or on them, and how to protect those in the parks? Says you, meaning us, never talk about Disney's how they keep the place safe. If the shooter starts shooting at the entrance to the park, would Disney be able enough to bring them down? Will they have to update security? Higher prices, possibly. I can't wait to hear your response, Michael. So I'm going to start on this first, and then John can jingle in when he thinks he can do so. So here's the thing. Disney's security is not meant to be seen. And I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. A lot of security is typically a deterrent. Big show for stop it. Whether it's metal detectors and x-rays and body scans and bomb sniffing dogs and those kind of things. So Disney takes a different approach from it, where it's not to be seen. You just have to know it's there. Does Disney security carry a gun? And the answer to that is no. They do not carry a gun. That is why they have the Orange County sheriffs on property. There's usually one at every park now, maybe many at every park. Not even before this past incident, but you'll always see one at the entrance, and there are probably others walking around the park that you may not see, whether it's in the back areas of the park. Yes, I think, if I was Disney and doing security, what I would do is I would put the whole bag check and things like that over at the TTC, and move it, out to the TTC. This way, everybody's bag checked, megatomatized. You certainly have more area there. I mean, you don't have any of the ticket booths open anymore. Great area to put all that security. And then this way, before you got on a monorail or ferry, you've already been through that. This way, when you got to the entrance of the park, you would just have to go to the ticket areas and, pop down your magic band and your finger, and you'd be on your merry way. Do I think Disney would be able to take down a shooter at the entrance of the park? Absolutely. I think, there'd always be a sheriff there. And I think, from the time that I did security at Disney back in the 90s, a lot of things have changed. They have K9 units now that are trained for drugs and bombs and all those kind of explosive things. They have security on bikes. They have plenty of cameras, and can see probably everywhere except for a bathroom. And that would probably be the only place that they don't have a camera. But they can certainly see people going in and out of those bathrooms if there were such an incident. So that's my opinion of Disney and their security, and what I think. My only change that I'd like to see them do is I'd like to see everybody go through a metal detector, not just a select few. And I'd also like to see more thorough search of strollers. A lot of things can be stuffed in a stroller that, and if you're not going to do, a better search, then at least have the K9 units more available, at the bag checks and sniffing out the strollers. That's what I'd like to see if I was making decisions. Your thoughts, John?
Yeah, I've got a couple. I agree with you. Disney does not like to have a show of force, but I know they're there. There's always undercover security people there. There's always undercover people. I won't tell you how to find them, but I make a game of it every time I go to a park. Right. Outside the park, just inside the park, different areas around the park. If you know what you're looking for, you'll see people around, and you can tell with beyond a shadow of a doubt that they're security, even though they're plain clothes. I know that Disney has protocols for all sorts of situations. Yep. I will say this. The reality is, because there's been a lot of politics and a lot of people throwing around opinions about what weapons should and shouldn't be available. They could take all the guns away, and if there's some mad idiot out there who wants to do people harm, they will find a way. I don't want to give people ideas, but people have used all sorts of ways to bring weapons or weapons of mass destruction to different areas with the technology of drones and all sorts of crazy things out there. If somebody wants to do other people harm, they'll do it. Disney is probably very well equipped. Disney and Universal, both. I'll throw Universal in on this as well. Very well equipped. It's very difficult to do what they do on a daily basis, but they're super well equipped. Do I think that Disney's going to change and update the security? Yes, they've probably already made changes. They've made security changes in lieu of an alligator attack. I'm sure that they've already made some wholesale changes. We've already seen an example of those changes. We both went to Disney Springs since the shooting. There's a much higher Orange County Sheriff's presence. Thank you. If you got any sheriffs or anybody out there who's listening, thank you guys for what you do. But yeah, I think Disney is going to work very closely with the Orange County authorities, and they're going to do that. Does that mean they're going to pass prices on? No, I don't think so. Disney's doing a pretty good job of passing all sorts of price increases on to their guests every year, and I'm sure that this isn't going to make a drastic change.
We don't need to take the security bill either.
The one question that Tony, you answered it. If a shooter were to start shooting at the Edge of Park, would Disney be able to take him down?
Yeah.
Yes, ultimately. The question that you're probably wanting to ask is, if somebody were to try to do this, they'd be stopped before anybody would be hurt. Yeah, nobody can make that guarantee. Now, conversely, you can't go anywhere in the world and have a guarantee of safety 100%. But I can say with certainty that
I guess there's only one place I would know. The White House. I think if I went inside the White House, I'd probably be...
Maybe, but a guy jumped the fence and got within mere, feet from the front door.
They have bulletproof glass on the window. So.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway, so, but that being said, Disney, Universal, I'll throw them in there as well. Yeah. One of the most well-protected places. Not a lot's going to go down without Disney reacting quickly. Disney's number one concern is the safety of their guests. It has to be. So I know it's a concern. We're all nervous. We're all questioning because of what happened. But I'm telling you guys, I go to Disney. I don't worry about it. You can't live your life in fear. Disney is supposed to be a magical place where we forget about our daily lives, and it still is. So their security is high. Their security is vigilant. Their security is tight. So go have a great time and try to do the best you can getting past the memories of these last couple of weeks.
Yeah. I always say that, when I went to Disney, and even when I still go, I really do forget where I am. It's almost like, when I didn't live here and I came here, I forgot about the news and the weather and the, whatever was going on. And, I didn't have a cell phone with me. Back in those days, they didn't exist like they do today. So I was able to really kind of unplug and just connect with my kids and my family. So that's what I suggest when you come down here. Leave the worrying to the professionals, and just come down and have a good vacation, have a good time. I don't think you should be on the forefront of your thinking. I think you should just be on vacation and have fun. So
that's it.
Yep. So if you want to send us what you think, and hey, if you know something that we maybe don't know and you have more information you'd like to share with us, or maybe you have a question that you'd like to send to us, and we can do a little infotainment around it, you can send that to Disney Parks Podcast at disneyparkspodcast.com, at gmail.com, at disneyparkspodcast@gmail.com, and maybe we'll talk about it on the show. So send us your questions and your thoughts. That's it. We'd like to say thank you for listening, and as always, we will see you in the parks.
The Disney Parks Podcast is not affiliated with the Walt Disney Company. All Disney parks, attractions, lands, shows, event names, etc. are registered trademarks of the Walt Disney Company.
Like a bolt out of the blue, Fate steps in and seizes